I believe that every movie adheres to the 29-point story structure. No matter if the writer outlines first or dives in blind, the end product follows the same 29 beats. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith is my Exhibit R. I have finished the prequel series, and thus marked another tiny milestone in the beginnings of this channel. Hurrah! These next 6 movies have a lot of expectations leading into them, so they better deliver. But honestly, as long as they stay away from Looney Tunes sketches, we should be alright. Revenge of the Sith came at audiences with a decidedly mainstream approach, unlike the first 2 installments. George Lucas previously padded each third act with heavy spectacle, but in Revenge of the Sith, the entirety of the third act is the spectacle. Instead of overly lengthy sequences, we're given a punchy conclusion that feels more like a mainstream action movie than a franchise sci-fi climax. How's that? Let's begin. A tight focus on the core elements of the protagonist's personality, inner conflict, and situation. Obi-Wan keeps Anakin close as they battle through a barrage of enemies and debris, even as he champions a division of labor. Anakin refuses to leave Obi-Wan behind, even as spaceship lice infest both of their fighters. They charge deeper into General Grievous's ship in harmonious tandem. Where, why, and how the protagonists exist in their world, with a focus on why they don't quite fit in. The droid army dispatches wave after wave of upgraded attack bots like an RPG gauntlet course, and the Jedi carve their way to the level's mini-boss, Count Dooku. A singular event that's never happened before, and is destined to lead the protagonist away from their status quo. Anakin beats Dooku, then slaughters him on Palpatine's order. An examination of what's different in light of the something new, what's the same in spite of it in relation to the status quo. Anakin frets over violating Jedi code, which Palpatine repaints as only natural. Despite his Jedi baggage, Anakin refuses to leave Obi-Wan behind. And the Jedi carve their way to a trap, surrounded and caught. The discovery that things are less than ideal, or an exploration of how badly things are. General Grievous's lightsaber collection suggests that he's handy at dispatching Jedi, yet escapes, again apparently, without dispatching these 2. Obi-Wan, Anakin, Palpatine, and R2-D2 are left aboard a crashing ship, and must pilot it just enough to keep from dying. Characters dedicate their effort to a specified goal, which is smaller in scope than the primary objective of the third act. Mace Windu swears to find and capture Grievous, hoping to stop the war that poor old Palpatine is forced to wage. Padme frets that her pregnancy will make it impossible to keep her marriage a secret, while Anakin is blindsided by the prospect of being a father. A brief checklist of the story elements needed for the second act. A blissful future just out of arm's reach. The helplessness and pain that haunts Anakin. His preference to keep Obi-Wan at a distance about certain issues, Jedi wisdom that warns against emotional attachment of any kind, and Obi-Wan smells the conspiracy. The singular event that launches the protagonist into the wild jungle of the second act, also called an oh shit moment. Palpatine offers grandeur in exchange for loyalty, and Anakin falls into his pocket. Oh shit. Characters must learn all new rules and expectations distinct to this adventure. Anakin lashes out when the Council insults him, denies him everything Palpatine promised. Then he simmers when asked to spy on the Chancellor, his loyalties pulled tight. And even Padme makes demands of his connection to Palpatine, his loyalties pulled even tighter. Characters showcase their ability to grow in the areas this adventure requires, typically through external means. Palpatine draws Anakin closer with the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and Anakin moves closer to keeping Padme alive through her pregnancy to subvert his premonitions. Characters face legitimate and understandable reasons to deviate from their stated convictions, agendas, and desires. Anakin's schism with the Council widens when he's passed over for a military operation. He recognizes that something inside him fundamentally rejects the Jedi code. An escalation of problems that vex the characters. Obi-Wan accidentally drops in on General Grievous's hiding spot. then deliberately drops in on Grievous's planning meeting. He keeps the robotic quadruped busy long enough for the clone army to storm the droid infestation. Characters evolve internally by utilizing everything they've gathered and learned. Obi-Wan chases Grievous on his brand new pet lizard ferret. The Jedi Council smells the same smelly conspiracy as Obi-Wan, but it appears to already have them underwater. And Anakin deduces that Palpatine is the rumored Sith Lord. Not quick on the uptake, but he got there eventually. Good for him. Journey-weary characters reconcile the reality of their ongoing situation with who they were in the first act. Obi-Wan revisits his duel with Grievous from the first act, this time not letting him escape. Anakin is forced to decide between his future with the Jedi or his future with Padme. A singular event that strikes at the protagonist's core conflict. Anakin betrays the Jedi Council by holding onto Jedi code and assisting in the murder of a Jedi Master, to the benefit of the Sith Order. And there's no turning back from here. Characters find a safe harbor that also provides needed answers for both external and internal conflicts. Anakin pledges his loyalty as Palpatine's Sith apprentice, and is officially named Darth Vader. The clarified objective is realized in part or in whole, though it's meaningless without the completion of the primary objective. Yoda survives Palpatine's Order 66, but he's one of few who have. Mace Windu promised to stop the war, but he had no idea it would culminate in the extinction of the Jedi. Senator Organa is left alive, but he's a witness to the clone army's brand new anti-Jedi stance. An existential conflict that wounds the protagonist's sense of self, worldly identity, or their journey. Obi-Wan escapes the swarm of clone soldiers. Anakin tells Padme of the Jedi extinction event, and she fears the death of democracy is at hand. Senator Organa wrangles up Yoda and Obi-Wan, who both spring into action to stop this plot. An undeniable win for the protagonist, typically in direct connection to the rebirth. With the Senate called to meeting, Yoda and Obi-Wan fight their way into the Jedi Temple. Anakin secures the reign and favor of Palpatine, thus saving Padme. A grand loss directly connected to the character's newfound inability to quit the journey. Palpatine transforms the Senate into the Empire, his empire. Obi-Wan witnesses the betrayal and is ordered to clean up the mess. A thematic freefall tied directly to the heavy price. Obi-Wan uses Padme to get to Anakin, but the Anakin she finds is one who fully embraces his authoritarian tendencies from the last movie. A singular event that robs the protagonist of seemingly any chance of success. Padme splits from Anakin, and he force chokes the shit out of her. Characters cannot return to their starting personas, and must turn to face the primary objective. Obi-Wan and Anakin hang it all out on the line, the culmination of 3 movies worth of character development and Easter eggs. The top dog Jedi and the top dog Sith do battle. Characters move towards the climax while utilizing the major swings and sneaky misdirections of the story. Yoda and Palpatine saber fight spilling out onto the Senate floor is about as blunt a metaphor for the last 3 movies as you could ask for, TBH. And Obi-Wan and Anakin's epic battle mirrors Yoda and Palpatine's epic battle. On that note, Yoda admits his failure and scurries off into exile. The final confrontation between the protagonist and the antagonistic force. Obi-Wan accepts the blame for what he's done to turn Anakin into Darth Vader. Then he cuts him down. The singular event where the protagonist finally confronts their place in the status quo. As Anakin, burns to death, Obi-Wan refuses to help, in sharp contrast to Anakin at the opening. So who is the bad guy here? The direct aftermath of the climax. While Obi-Wan agonizes over what he just did and saw, Anakin claws and climbs his way up the dirt hill, refusing to go down from merely a flesh wound. The consequences of the climax in relation to other characters and the status quo. Padme loses her will to live, but pushes through her labor to give birth to Luke and Leia, while Darth Vader fights very much to stay alive in whatever's left of Anakin. A tight focus on the protagonist contrasted from the opening. Darth Vader rises as the right-hand man to the most powerful man in the galaxy. Leia is split from Luke, and the next trilogy is set up. And there you have it. My 18th example to support my argument that all movies follow the exact same story structure, regardless of how the writer approaches their craft. Revenge of the Sith kept a steady pace through the 29-point story structure and maintained tight sequence control. It's no wonder it's considered the best film in the prequels. But does this space political drama follow the same plot beats as a Korean blockbuster space opera that doubles as Shakespearean-level science fiction? Yes, it arguably does. Next on my docket, Space Sweepers. Please subscribe to stay up to date with this and future videos, and please like and comment with your thoughts and reactions. I'll talk at you next time.